Welcome back, everybody, to the Nerdcore Podcast, the podcast that reviews the movies and talks that nerd shit. And of course, it is your host, the Nerdy Chicano, here to host the show alongside my wonderful co-host, Brian Yoda.
So what's up, everybody? Welcome to a wonderful Friday.
Future episode.
Friday.
Yep. Happy 2025 to everybody, because this is going in the future. It gets uploaded on Monday the 6th. So we're talking to you guys from the distant past. It is still 2024, but I hope everyone had a great New Year's Eve. I hope you all were drinking responsibly. I hope you all did not drink and drive. You know, all the things, right, Brad?
Time keeps on ticking into the future.
But as tradition goes, right, Brad? As tradition
goes.
Well, the first time we're ever going to do this one, because
we
actually watched a decent amount of television last year.
Yeah, so this is new.
Yes. But our actual tradition is the next episode.
Yeah.
But as a new tradition goes, we're here to do our top 10 TV shows / miniseries of 2024. But before we can get into any of that, Brad, what's up? How are you doing?
Doing good, Ro. I ate a little bit of lunch before this.
Yeah.
So the dogs are all taken care of. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Is Brenda at work, or it's just you by yourself?
Brenda's at work. So.
Okay. Yeah. I had some oatmeal pancakes for breakfast. I had like 3 of them hoes. So, that's all I've had today. And a little cutie right now. I had a cutie.
There you go.
A little Mandarin. But, we're going to be pre-recording this to make sure that, because as it stands right now, I think I should be back by the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
But I know my very Mexican family. I know them very well. I don't think I'm going to be back by the 6th.
If you are, it's going to be very, very late.
Yeah. So we're going to see what's going to go down. But I'm going to, I'm going to just pre-record this just to be on the safe side, and might have to switch a shift for another day. But, anything you've been up to, Brad? No movies yet?
No movies today.
No?
I mentioned everything I watched on the last review. So.
Oh yeah, on his Girl Friday mini pod.
Yeah.
I caught up with Skeleton Crew and Creature Commandos. That's all I did today.
I have not watched the newest episodes, but I had watched the previous stuff. So
I watched episode 3 today. Both of episode 3s of both of those shows. So yeah, those will not count for this week. I mean, for this year's top 10 list, because
they're not done.
They're not done. Not done. But with that said, let's go ahead and get ready to do this thing, Brad. So the way that we usually do this for the movies are we do number 10. I do number 10. Brad does number 10. I do number 9. Brad does number 9. Before we get to number 1, we do our wonderful honorable mentions, and then from there we do number 1. So Brad, let's get ready to do this thing. I'm gonna actually do something I should be doing every year, Brad. I'm gonna highlight after I say mine, so I don't forget what fucking movie, what number we're on. So I'm not asking like, hey Brad, are we at number 4 or are we at number 5? Like, yeah. So Brad, here we go. In my top 10, my number 10 of the year, man, it is Fallout Season 1, man. I thought this season was great. I thought they did a wonderful job with the overall translating of the video game to the screen. And I have to say, it is probably one of the best adaptations of a video game ever. I love the way that we ended this, kind of making a little bit of a tease to New Vegas. So very interested to see where they go from this. But I loved this show. I love the performances from Ella Purnell, Walton Goggins as the ghoul, and Rico from Hannah Montana. I can't remember his name at all. But I thought this was a great show, and I think that this is easily the best video game adaptation of this year. Brad, what's your number 10?
So my number 10, and I'm putting it on my list because I believe it probably fell off Raul's list, is Ted Season 1. Yes, that's right. The talking teddy bear. I had to throw him on my list because guess what? He deserves to be on a list. That show is absolute comedy. Seth MacFarlane hit it out of the park. I don't know if there will be a season 2. Do we know if there's a season 2?
Yes, renewed for season 2.
Okay, so we'll get to enjoy another season of that, and I'm hoping it's as good as what they started out with. But I was laughing throughout the whole time.
Yeah. Oh man, Brad, for so long, to season one was like my number 10 or something,
Held
right?
on for like the whole
Or
year.
something, and it just kept going lower and lower and lower. And you're like, hey man, is this gonna finally make it? And I have to tell you guys, it's not on the 10. I'm so sorry, but it eventually fell off.
Yeah,
But for so long, it had a big place in my list.
but it's on my 10. So
Yeah,
I got you, Ted.
got you, Ted. We got you, Ted. Um, yeah, my number 9, which I'm sure is going to be higher on the list for Brad, is Shogun season 1, which
Damn.
now is confirmed to have a season 2. So we have to call it season 1, or else this would be considered a mini series. Um, this show was great. It took a little bit of time to pick up for me, where I really just managed to feel like, oh, the pacing was a little bit off, but I thought performance wise, incredible. Sonata, Anna Sawai, white guy, I can't remember his name, the British dude. I thought everybody did an incredible
That dude.
job in that show, performance wise. Cinematography looks incredible. The score, everything, man. I really liked everything about this show. The only thing that I think puts it below the rest of these shows is I think it took a bit for me to get up, get what's it called, get with for a bit, and I thought it was still a pretty stellar show.
I'm gonna say that in my opinion, that's too low for that because honestly, but this comes from a guy who had read the novel way long ago and had known about this show. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Brad, what's your number 9?
my number 9 is actually your number 10, Fallout season 1, for the exact same reasons you just spouted there. Um, I think it is one of the best video game adaptations of the year, maybe of all time.
Honestly,
Right under Detective Pikachu, probably. They did really well with it. When they first showed like all the clips of like of Fallout, it was questionable. We were like, this can't be good. There is just too much in order to make a story out of this. It's too open world, and I really think Amazon spent money on this. They got a great cast in it, and I think they did a really good job.
yeah, man. And man, I love the power armor, Brad. The power armor,
Yeah, and
dude.
they did not cheap out on that. When I saw like the just the trailer clips, I didn't get enough like footage of that to be like, oh, that's gonna look good. But really, the power armor turned out great.
Freaking
And
awesome,
I
dude.
really think the story wise, the way they're going, I think season 2 is going to be like really good too.
I think it might even be better, man.
It
I
might
think it
be
might even
better.
be better. But I was really surprised this year from Amazon when it came to some of these shows, because it really showed that, like, hey, they didn't cheap out, man.
No,
They did
they're
not cheap
in it.
out.
They're in it to I think to take on the HBOs.
Yeah,
They're really in it to spend money and to get viewership and to
yeah,
keep me paying my Prime Video or my
yeah,
Prime
man.
as a whole.
Yup. My number 8. The only reason it's above this past show, which, let's be honest, the way I really speak about this season and Shogun season 1, it really doesn't make sense as to why it's above this season. But I think emotionally it felt higher, and I think that emotionally it delivered on a different level than Shogun. I'm talking about the Bear season 3. It's my number 8. I have a lot of complaints about the show when it comes to the pacing. I think that because it's a two-parter season, which is something I'm not a fan of at all. Um, I think that it really does kind of affect some of the way that some moments really stick with you, and I think that it affects the way that some of them are going to carry on. But I have to say, cinematography wise, performance wise, and emotionally, I think it still hit. And to me, it put it above season 1 of a Shogun, but nowhere near the excellence that was season 2 or season 1. Season 2 was my favorite TV show of last year, and for a long time, it was the only 5-star I ever gave that year. So, yeah, that's pretty great for it to still be on the top 10 list. But yeah, that's my number 8, Brad. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is The Boys season 4.
Dude, oh man, that's a lot higher than mine. That's a lot higher on mine. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I put it at number 8 just because all the other shows I've watched, um, I didn't quite enjoy as much as The Boys. Previous seasons of The Boys is a lot better than season 4, but I still find The Boys enjoyable, and I want to see
how they
how
end
they
it,
go on
man.
to their spin-offs and how they go on to the next season. So it's keeping me glued.
Yeah. Yeah. Brad, number 7, dude. Highly anticipated season of the year for me. And when it started off, we were a little bit, I was really into it. And where it started off, ending was a little more, to ask for. It left a lot more to be desired, but I think it still set up a lot of really good room to build into where we were going into season 3. I'm talking about House of the Dragon season 2, man. I really loved this season. I think that they improved a lot on the performances. I think they did a great job that where we kind of went with this story, and a lot of ground that we covered was really, really good in this. It just doesn't fall apart, but it kind of gets a little jumbled towards the end, where I was like, okay, this is where we're gonna end it, and it's like, hey, I wasn't gonna ask for like a battle, because of course I don't think we'd end on a battle, but I would think like, hey, let's end with something that really does kind of put us into a really interesting place into season 3, instead of just like, oh, we're just sailing.
Yeah.
And but overall, I still think it was a great season of television, and I think that it was a really, really good entry into this show. And because this is, of course, like a 4-season planned show, I think we're about to hit some really good stuff in season 3, and I can't wait for it. Brad, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is also House of the Dragon season 2
Oh
for the
crap!
exact same
Okay.
reasons Ro has stated. And on top of that, Daemon Targaryen honestly going nowhere this season didn't help. There was a battle. It was a short battle. And what I honestly think hurts House of the Dragon season 2 is Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Because Rings of Power, you were going to get, they were both going to get dissected and said, okay, well, Rings of Power, that battle scene compared to this one, I mean, there's no comparison.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, they left it off, on a cliffhanger. So I mean, I think they had a lot of things working against it. I think it still was a good season. It wasn't as good as I don't know if it was. I don't think it was as good as the first season, but I'm still interested. I want to see season 3, season 4, whatever they bring into it. Georgia, I'm sure this season will finish, and the next whatever spinoff will come out before George R. R. Martin finishes his damn book or whatever books. So
well, we got that what's it called, the Night of the Seven Kingdoms coming next year.
Yeah, so I mean,
this year
George R. R. Martin is not going to finish any books, guys.
Not even the second part to this one that he already has the material for.
It'll probably be finished by AI like 10 or 15 years from now, and it's a lot better AI.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
I think it might be the only piece of AI that people aren't going to cry about and complain about. If you're like, well, at least somebody finished the goddamn book. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, dude, that's just terrorist. Yeah. But this year we get Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and we get Last of Us season 2. So I think HBO's really got it packed up this year. But my number 6, Brad, which was really high on my list for a long period of time, it might have been my number 1 for a while. This is starting to go into the ground of shows that were like really freaking good, man. That I really liked a lot more than other people apparently liked. And I'm talking about True Detective and iCountry, man. Dude, I think that this show was super strong. Cinematography-wise, especially everything in the night is just lit so well.
Mm-hmm.
Performances from freaking Jodie Foster, Carly Reyes, I think it was her name. I'm gonna check that because I'm not entirely sure if that's her name. But yeah, the girl that was like a boxer, like she was fantastic in this show, bro. Like
I mean, I think I like the horror elements within
the
show. I really, and you didn't really have that in the previous True Detective. It was more psychological horror, if anything, which this had. But there were it really went into a dark place, and I think a lot of people just didn't like it because it wasn't True Detective season 1. Even though there was call outs to it, which True Detective season 1 really didn't matter all that much to it. But I think it held its own. I still personally I think season 1, season 3 a little bit better than season 4, but I'm not going to say season 4 was a bad season at all.
No.
I think people just, they didn't get season 1 again.
Yeah. We knew right away once we saw that Issa Lopez was the one who was working on this, who did Tigers Are Not Afraid. We were like, oh, this is not gonna be like crime thriller.
No, this is gonna be a
straight
horror.
up horror. This is gonna be straight up horror, and she really delivers on that. And I think that this is one of the best seasons of True Detective to me. I still much more prefer season 3 over season 4 because of no Alzheimer's aspect. And I thought that was a really interesting aspect to bring into this show. But this is easily, to me, second. I think I like this more than season 1. And I really, really did like this season, man. I thought it was super strong. Kylie Reyes was really great. And even the freaking, what's it called, son and the father in that show were really, really good too. But yeah, man, this is my number 6, Brad. What's yours?
My number 6, you already mentioned, is The Bear, season 3. And mostly because The Bear season 2 was perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know how you beat
there's
that.
no following. I'm sorry, there's no following that season.
Yeah, really hard for you to follow that.
Very hard. But I still liked a lot of the season. I still think the cast is great in this. There's episodes in it where I would say some of the episodes are probably the best episodes of the season, of those seasons. But there's like 2 of them maybe throughout that. Whereas season 2 complete as a whole is just top notch.
Yep. And of course, before we can get into our top 5, please stick around after these words from our sponsors. Of course, if you do want to get access to the ad-free version of this and other episodes of the Nerdcore podcast, you can go ahead and subscribe to us on patreon.com/thenerdcore at the $1 tier. You get episodes like this. You get episodes like our reviews early before anybody else gets to watch them live and ad-free. But go ahead and stick around. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. Today's episode of the Nerdcore is brought to you by SeatGeek. Whether you want to see your favorite band, sports team, or comedian, SeatGeek has you covered. We're proud to be partnering with SeatGeek to offer you $10 off your first order with code TheNerdCore. That's $10 off your first order at SeatGeek.com with code THENERDCORPS. So take a seat at your next live event with SeatGeek. Thank you. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, Brad, we're going into the top 5, the cream of the crop, the shows that really stood, Night Country really stood out to me, but I think these were the shows that really freaking blew me away, where I was like, okay, just completely blown away. This season of television that I'm going to talk about, Brad, was one of my most anticipated as well. I mean, we finished season 1 and I was like, Brad, I need season 2 right now. I need to know where we're going to pick up here. And I think that this show's success really showed where House of the Dragon season 2 was lacking. And I think that Amazon did not cheap out when it came to this show. I think that we improved on a lot of aspects, even though it kind of starts off a little slow. Once you get past those first 3 episodes, it really picks the fuck up. And I think that it really showcases how good the writing is, how good the VFX is, and how good the directing is. I'm talking about The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, season 2, man. Dude, this was great. I cannot go any further beyond what I can say with my words to tell you how much I think that this season was good.
It was worth the 2-year wait.
100%, Brad. The stuff with Sauron and Celebrimbor, the whole stuff that happened with Galadriel this season, with what's his name, Arnon, or what's it called, the leader of the orcs, everything with him and Sauron,
the dwarves,
the
whole
dwarves, the
story,
elves, everything, man.
Numenor. I mean, a lot of that was on point.
For a show that's like really what juggles a lot, they managed to really balance it out towards the end of the season. Yeah. The only thing to me that keeps it from being perfect is because it is a little tough to follow in the first couple episodes. But once you really get in there into the middle of the season and towards the end, man, I think that it improves a lot, especially with the way they handled the Stranger, aka Gandalf, and the Harfoots. Man, I think that they did a great job with that, bro. Brad, what's your number 5?
My number 5, again, you already mentioned, is True Detective Night Country. Again, I think it's a great episode or a great, little catalog into the True Detective series. Again, it for me, it's not better than season 3 or season 1, but I enjoyed it. I kept wanting to watch it every week. I don't think it dropped all at once, right?
True Detective Night Country. No, that was a weekly.
Yeah, that was weekly. So I always wanted to watch it every week. I like the horror aspect in it. And also it makes me pretty afraid of Alaska.
Yeah, I'm not going to fucking. Yeah, man, that shit's scary as hell, right? Ooh, man. Yeah, dude. Love that show, man. And I figured it would be a lot higher on yours. I just think the stuff that I watched above this is freaking just on another level to me, blew me away. My number 4, which I'm 100% sure this is going to be way higher than Brad's. I don't know if it's going to be number 1 or number 2, but I have to say it is higher on my list. It's going to be higher on Brad's list. The Penguin. I think the Penguin was fantastic, man. What the showrunner, I'm completely blanking on her name because I know it wasn't Matt Reeves, but I think what she does with this show to really build on what Matt Reeves leaves for us in after the Batman, I think is incredible. Performances from Colin Farrell.
She builds on it like what, a week after the events?
Hours after, Brad.
Hours after, yeah.
Yeah. Which is just incredible to me, and she does such an amazing job, and I really did enjoy this show. I thought that this was near perfect. I think just some episodes don't hit the way that the others do. The stuff with Penguin and Victor, Sofia Falcone, Gigante in this one, just a great season, man. I really thought it was really good stuff, and they did a great job with this show. To me, I think this year. I think this year that Amazon took it for me, as in like what really stood out this year. But right behind it, I think that HBO really does put in some work this year to really like solidify how great of television we had. But the Penguin, really good, man. I loved it, and it makes me super hyped to see where we go heading into the Batman Part 2. Brad, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is also the Penguin.
Oh crap! Okay, this is gonna be interesting to see where you go on from here, Brad.
Yeah, so I think it's a great gangster show. I know it's a Batman show technically without Batman, but but it's a gangster. It's a gangster show, and there's a lot of emotional ties in this that I was not expecting to have for the Penguin. And to me, they honestly knocked it out of the park. I would
Deirdre O'Connell, Brad.
I would love a season 2 for this. I don't need a season 2. So I'm looking forward to however they expand from this.
Deirdre O'Connell's performance is one of the best performances as Penguin's mother.
Yes.
I
mean, and just the showing of how Alzheimer's or dementia has just affected her, and then is affecting, Oz. I mean, it's just great writing, great cinematography in this, and it feels like Gotham. I mean, it feels like you are in the lower depths of Gotham, and you're right there watching everyone struggle and try to rise to the top.
Yep. All right, man. My number 3 is a season of television that we watched pretty early on, Brad, and we actually had Migs come on for this review. But I love this. I love this season. I thought animated beautifully. I think social commentary wise, it was really on par with what we were going on with the world lately. I thought it was just an incredible piece of television, and the writing was amazing. Performances from the voice actors. When you told me that this show was going to get a new season and not rebooted, but a continuation, I was going to say, how in the fuck are you going to do that? Like, really? Like, we're going to bring this back for you guys to mess it up like you messed up a lot of other stuff? And I was just blown away by it. And I loved it. I'm talking about X-Men 97 season 1, Brad. I love this season. Don't know how much faith I have in the second season, but I think the first season is as near perfect as you can get, man. This was so good, dude. I was in love with the season, man. We did a whole season review of this one, and I think they just did an amazing job. The animation is incredible. The stuff with like Magneto really blew me away. Cyclops is still a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah, it's like
Um, yeah, but that's Cyclops, right? But Brad, what
Gambit is an OG.
Oh my god, the stuff with Gambit, Brad.
Whew.
The episode with Gambit Sacrifice is easily one of my favorite episodes of
Yeah.
TV this year. Just incredible. The stuff with Rogue. Just
Wolverine, always.
Yep, loved it, man. I loved it so much. Brad, what is your what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Rings of Power season 2.
Wow.
Again,
Okay.
again for everything you said. So I'm just following Raul at this point. And I would say I would tie it with the Penguin for the 3rd spot technically, but I did put
Yeah.
Rings of Power into the 3rd spot. It's just so good. It's just that's all I have to say. Everything I want season 3 now. Like I would love to watch. I think they ended it well. I got the big battle I wanted. That House of Dragon really didn't give us. No hate, not hating on House of Dragon, but there was going to be comparison. This show,
Oh yeah, I mean they're both fantasy shows. How can you not compare them?
Yeah, and on different, you have one on Amazon, one on HBO, different, And I'm sorry, Rings of Power went out easily. I mean the writing, the story, cinematography wise, it was basically almost perfect to me.
And it also had subtitles that were easier to read.
Yes.
Fuckers. Yeah. What's gonna fucking kill y'all from stop giving us that freaking 5-inch letter font, bro, on the fucking High Valerian? Yeah, jeez, man. I figured that would be a little bit higher on yours, Brad, and I think I can actually guess where you're going with your number 2 and your number 1. But yeah, my number 2, Brad, was one that was lower on yours, but I think that this show keeps improving every year. The fact that this show had an episode on an assassination attempt on a president before the actual assassination attempt on a former president of the United States just really solidified to me how freaking socially conscious this show is, right? Because it always has been socially conscious, but just how freaking crazy that this show can get every season. They really do pick it up every season. Boy, season 4, man, I thought this was near perfect to me. I love this show. Yes, Homelander's still alive. I don't know how the fuck we're gonna do this, how we're gonna kill him, but I'm really hyped for season 5. I'm super hyped to see how we go to season 2 of Gen V, because I think that it hands it off really well to season 2 of Gen V. And I'm really excited to see that. Of course, we have another spin-off with the boys Mexico that they're doing. So I'm just super excited to see where we keep going with this world. But to see this main story finally conclude in season 5, it's gonna be great.
I have feeling neither Homelander or Butcher make it out.
I think both of them are probably gonna die, man. I think Ryan,
which honestly should be the way it goes, because they've been struggling through the whole time.
Yeah, and I think, like I said during our reviews, I think Ryan's gonna make an appearance in Gen V. I think Ryan will be in Gen V because he desperately needs somebody to walk him down the right path.
Yeah,
and he no longer wants to be associated with neither Butcher, neither Homelander.
No, or whatever entities they work with.
Yep.
As we saw.
So I think it leads to some really interesting ground to kind of put him in the shoes with Gen V, with the Gen V kid, with the Godolkin kids. But that was fantastic, Brad. I love this season, and to me, it's easily one of the best seasons of this year. And I love Homelander. Like, Homelander in this season just really fucking killed me. Especially
Homelander don't give a shit.
100%. Yeah, like you really saw, like, especially about what's it called, Firecracker.
Yeah,
you don't care about Firecracker.
He only cares about one thing from Firecracker.
Yep. But Brad, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is X-Men 97 season 1.
Holy crap.
So I mean, everything Raul has already spouted on about it. Great animation. Goodness, the story. What you just said about the boys kind of following, our political in real life. I feel X-Men 97 to me does it better because
Yeah.
Magneto is literally out there spouting like what we're going through today.
Yeah.
So to me, I think very socially conscious. I think again, great animation. The sound editing is great. The voiceover, the voice acting is great. It's perfect. And the only reason it's not number one is because I have a show that I think is just slightly I feel more entertained by.
All right. Brad, where'd you put Penguin again?
Penguin was at 4.
4. Okay. All right.
Same
Damn.
as you.
Same as me. Yeah. Yeah. So here we go, Brad. Before we can go and get into our number one, we have some honorable mentions to talk about. I'll let you go first, Brad, since I started the list first. What's your 3 honorable mentions?
My first honorable mention is Dune Prophecy Season 1. It is not good enough to get on the list. Was I entertained? Yes. Is it as good as the movies? No. Do I want to see season 2? Yes. But it was not good enough to get on my list for that. My second honorable mention, and surprising it's here, Agatha All Along. I started this season thinking this was going to be hard, especially after what Echo was. I was expecting another Marvel travesty of a show that I had no idea why they were making. And honestly, they turned me around, and I was very surprised at how much I enjoyed this show. I think the acting and the actresses throughout this were great. The actors were great. And I think it includes a storyline that they'll go into either more shows or more Marvel movies that, I actually want to know about. So good on them. And my third, Batman Cape Crusader Season 1. Because it's animated Batman almost. Animation wise, story wise, I think it could have been a little stronger throughout the season. But I hope there's a season 2. I don't know if they've called out a season 2 yet.
I don't think so.
No, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Brad, my 3 honorable mentions, one of them is on your list. It's what's called Agatha All Along. I thought Agatha starts off a little questionable, but man, was I surprised. Was I really surprised? And I thought, you know what? Disney and Marvel Studios really gave us a good piece of television this year. Not perfect by any means,
no.
But I thought that where we went into the show and where we ended, massive improvement. Massive improvement. And I really liked it. I love the reveals. I love what this implies for the MCU. And I thought that, for a show this year from Disney, way better than Echo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although that's a low
and the
bar.
Acolyte, way better than the Acolyte too.
That's a low bar, bro.
Yeah. Brad, Ted Season 1, man. I have to give flowers to Ted Season 1. For a while, he was on the list. I never thought that this damn talking teddy bear was going to translate well to fucking, what's it called, to TV, especially without like Mark Wahlberg there to what's it called, to be in there, because the movies are pretty damn funny, man.
Yeah, they're pretty
But I was like, okay, how is this going to work for TV wise?
I think they cast the perfect young Wahlberg.
100%.
Young Wahlberg, technically. I mean, he's got the cadence down. He's got the comedic timing down. Yeah. So it really works well. It might work better than the movies.
Yeah, I loved it. I can't wait for season 2. And another one here, my honorable mentions. Number 3 of my honorable mentions. I love this season of Abbott Elementary. Season 3 is great.
Which I did not watch, so it wasn't going to be on my list.
Yeah. I've been wanting to watch season 4. I need to just wait for it to finish. They also got the crossover episode with It's Always Sunny coming up, so I think that's going to be pretty interesting to watch. You had some great guest stars in this season, and I thought it was really funny, and I thought it was really good. Loved it, and easily one of the best seasons of this show. Brad, that takes us into the number 1 spot. This was the best show of 2024. The best one that we watched, the best one. This one is not the best one that we reviewed because we didn't review this show on my list. But I watched this one while the whole derecho came over here and knocked out the power grid. and I was chilling at my cousin's house, and I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to watch this show. I love this director. I think that this director is one of the best working today. She made your favorite film of 2019, and I thought, it had freaking Nicole Kidman in it. And when you got Nicole Kidman in it, how the hell can it not be good? Um, my favorite TV show slash miniseries of this year is Expats. This show is so beautiful, um, incredibly shot, amazingly written. There's a whole episode dedicated to just the domestic workers living inside of that hotel, and it's amazing. And I thought what you did with the whole, you know, aspect of domestic work and family life, I thought was really good.
So it was
Um,
the director of The Farewell?
yes, this is Lulu Wang's follow
Very
up
nice.
to The Farewell. It is not perfect to me. I think there is some performances that are not as strong, and I'm mostly looking at the kids that weren't as strong, but I still think they work well for their characters. But there's some episodes that just don't hit on the level of some. But I thought this was incredible. What Lulu Wang does with this show is really good. It's on par and on level to me with what she's done in the past. Probably not as great as The Farewell because The Farewell is perfect, but I think that it's still really, really, really good. Now, Brad, what is your number one of the year?
My number one of the year, and you probably know it because it hasn't been said yet, is of course Shogun. And also, this isn't for this television series, but on this book, now the colossal television saga that is making entertainment history. And this was back in the 80s. So they were talking
This
about
was
the
for the
80s show.
'86 show with
They were talking about the 86
Kushiro
show,
Mifune.
but it still translates to today. I think this show is amazing. I think they keep, from what I remember from the story, they have kept to the story very well. I think the acting is great. I think the visuals are great. I was absolutely in love from the very first episode of this show, and I think it was the best for me personally.
Yeah. I believe.
Although the season 2 is questionable.
I don't know.
I throw that out there. I don't know about the season 2. I was thinking this was going to be a mini series, and then they throw the season 2 out there, so that's questionable. But I'm not taking points off for that.
But that doesn't take away from the great,
No.
the great stuff that was this season.
And I'm not the only one saying this because how many awards did they fucking just take from everything?
I think they won everything they were nominated for.
Yeah. So I'm not the only one here spouting. I'm not dick riding here.
Yeah. Yeah. I look, Brad, I love Shogun. I am very questionable when it comes to what season 2 is going to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Am I interested to see what it does? Sure.
Yeah. But am I hyped as much as I was for the what was supposed to be a 1-season miniseries? I don't know. Because there was no plan for season 2. There was a plan for a short season, 1 season. Now they're going to season 2, and that just brings up a lot of questions of what are you going to do?
Yeah. Brad, do you have a streamer this year or like a network that you think really blew it out of the park? Like I said, mine was Amazon Prime Video. I think Amazon Prime Video really showed out this year.
Amazon was so good. I forget what Shogun was on FX.
FX Hulu, yeah.
Yeah, which
is pretty much Disney.
Well, FX and Hulu had Shogun and Ted. So
yeah,
pretty strong.
And the Bear.
And the Bear. So very strong. I think I still might have to give it to HBO. Honestly. Just HBO came out with the Penguin,
Night Country,
although
House of the
Dragon. So there's a lot on my list from that. But then again, Amazon, they came out with The Boys, Fallout. I think that were they X-Men 97?
No, that's Disney Plus.
That's Disney Plus. The Rings of Power. So I think FX, Hulu, HBO, and Amazon had great years. They took everything. Just for Rings of Power, I'm going to give it to Amazon. Even though like I love Shogun, but I think Amazon, coming from season 1, I think they had the best sequel, and that sequels are hard. to overcome your original season.
Yeah.
So just for that, I think I gotta give it to Amazon.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see how HBO does this year, man. So far, like what we're watching right now, we're watching Future Commandos.
Yeah.
We've got Last of Us season 2. You've got The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So you got a lot of stuff coming down from HBO, and I think that HBO's in a great position to, really blow it away next year. I mean, this
And
year.
then is Invincible season 3? Is that coming out next year?
Yep, that's coming up.
Which was not on our list for
season
reasons.
2 was not.
This is not the hate.
I could tell you right now where Invincible season 2 is on my list.
It ain't on my list.
So I watched a total of 20 shows this year. Invincible season 2 is at number 17, right above Echo and below Knuckles. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, Knuckles is not great. It's not good. But I sure as hell had a lot more fun with it than season 2 of Invincible.
I think Invincible season 2 was, of course, hurt by the mid break. Because the mid break was like 3 months. I think that really hurt it because by the time we got back to it, it had lost all its momentum.
Yeah.
Because I remember people were talking about the show. They were talking about it all the time. And then after that mid break, after the episode, I looked. There was nobody talking about that show.
Yeah. Those first couple episodes that drop are gonna have to surprise me really well for me to want to say, Brad, we're gonna review this show. Because as of right now, I don't think I have plans to want to review season 3.
Now, season 3, I've heard there is no plan for a mid-season break. I think they learned from that mistake.
Yeah. And it looks like they're dropping 3 episodes. So this is coming on February 6th, 2025.
Yeah.
So, those first 3 episodes are really going to have to do it for me to want to, decide on us doing some reviews here.
Yeah, I just think that second half of the season was just so hurt.
Super weak, Brad.
And it just, I think we all just came into there just kind of pissed off.
Yeah.
And we were just like, I don't even want to do this right now. And then on top of that, it dropped during another show. What show was it where it dropped? And it was totally just like, yeah, I don't care about Invincible. I forget what show it was.
I think it was Night Country, right?
It might have been Night Country, and we were just like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I think it was Night Country.
Yeah, so I think that on top of it hurt it because it had to compete with Night Country, which I mean was there was.
It was never going to go that great either way.
There was some fans of True Detective that didn't like it, but they kept watching it just so they could hate on it. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But that's pretty much it for our top 10 TV shows / miniseries of 2024. Tune in tomorrow as we do our top 10 films of 2024. We got a lot to catch up here from the distant past, but we're getting ready to get there, man. And I'm really excited to see what Brad's list is going to be. I think after a while, Brad stopped telling me what numbers are what. So I'm excited to see what we got.
There's movies I haven't even told you about. I've told you a lot of movies. There's movies I have not told you about because I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, man, I'm really excited. And of course, thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, make sure you keep up to date with us on nerdcore.com, Twitter at the Nerdcore_, Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok at the Nerdcore, Patreon.com/the-Nerdcore for $1 a month. You get to watch this episode what's earlier than you were supposed to, and you missed out on it now if you're watching this in the time that it drops. But you get the TV one streamed live, and it will go up on on the next day for you. So you guys should go and check that all out, man. It's a lot of cool stuff happening over there. Discord link is in the description below. You can check us out there. You can talk to us about your favorite TV shows and miniseries of 2024. On the YouTube comments, tell us what is your favorite TV show of the year. What really stood out to you? Tell us in the comments of the YouTube video. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode of the Nerdcore podcast that drops on the channel. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app of choice, make sure that you leave a 5-star review and you follow us on your favorite podcast app. And of course, we would like to thank our wonderful patrons. Without them, none of this is possible. And Brad, we love them so much. Tell them about our wonderful executive producer, Shane. Where can you find him, Brad?
You can follow our friend Shane at twitch.tv/xsrk or on Twitter at thriftedil, or go buy something from the Subby God at dpop.com/Prison City Vintage.
Yes, sir. And of course, man, that's all we got for today, Brad. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, and thank you guys for sharing with us your top tens and all that stuff. So, without further ado, Brad, from the past to the future of 2025, let's go ahead and send them out.
All right, Raul, thank you for being host as always into another year. Thank you to our listeners out there, our Patreon supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to those who joined us in future chats. We know this is early, our bad, but this is what we have to do. Thank you to everyone. We'll see you next year. And I guess to end this episode, I'll just relay again. Let us know your top tens in the chat. We would love to hear it. We'd love to talk to you about it. And with that, Young Yoda out.